कदम मिलाकर चलना होगा। बाधाएं आती आए, गिरे पड़ने की घोर घटाएं, पांव के नीचे अंगारे, सर पर बरसे यदि ज्वालाएं, निज हाथों से हंसते हंसते आग लगाकर चलना होगा, कदम मिलाकर चलना होगा।
I was born to a Hindu Brahmin family in the city of Gwalior in Madhya Pradesh. My father, Pandit Krishna Bihari Vajpayee, was the headmaster of a government school in Gorki. He possessed great innate wisdom and a true generosity of spirit. He was the 17th headmaster between 1935 to 37 and was promoted to inspector of schools, who then became the director. A lover of verse, he is known to have written the school prayer. His name remains inscribed on board in the Gorki primary school. He had an ideal helpmate in my mother, Krishna Devi. I was one of the 7 children born to tall and handsome parents. I was always interested in reading and had extremely good oratorical skills. Whenever I would find myself surrounded by sufferings, difficulties and problems, my parents would always tell me, whenever human beings find themselves alone, they look for someone to help them, someone to solve their problem. But sometimes we might not find anyone and fall in grief. We must learn to cope our problems by ourselves so we could keep moving forward in our lives. I studied in Saraswati Shishu Mandir, a government school in Gorki, and in my school days, I loved playing kabaddi and hockey. I also liked to ride bicycle around the town. I pursued my graduation from Lakshmi Bai College, erstwhile Victoria College, and my post-graduation from DAV College. Have you ever seen or heard of a college where both father and son studied together, and that too in the same class? This was such a college which not only witnessed a father and son studying together but also set a theatrical stage for it. It was 1945 that I had completed BA from Victoria College and was worried about the future. My father had retired from government services. My 2 sisters were of marriageable age. Dowry had assumed the shape of a curse. From where will I manage resources for post-graduation was the question then. But when all the doors seemed closed, Gwalior Maharaja Shriman Jivaji Rao Sindhya, who knew my father well as a student, offered me a monthly scholarship of 75 rupees. The wrinkles of tension on father's face gradually started to disappear. The family heaved a sigh of relief, and I too took a plunge in happy dreams of the future. After getting the scholarship from Gwalior Riyasat, most of the students head to DAV College in Kanpur. I was also told to head Kanpur. My elder brother, Prem Bihari Vajpayee, was already studying law from there. It was at this point of time that an unusual incident took place. Suddenly, my father decided that he too will pursue higher education. His decision had put all of us in wonder. He had retired after giving his contribution in the field of education for 30 years. When he saw that I am going to Kanpur for MA and to study law, he decided that he too will go to Kanpur and study law with me. When he reached the principal Kalka Prasad Bhatnagar's office, Mr. Bhatnagar thought that the elderly gentleman has come to seek a professor's post or to get someone enrolled. But when Mr. Bhatnagar came to know that he had come to enroll himself, he virtually jumped from his chair and started saying, You have done a wonder. Soon the news spread throughout the college. In the hostel, we stayed in room number 104, where the father and son lived together. Crowd of students would turn up to see us. We spent 2 years at the college. I still remember the Ramayan Mandali which was organized by Purushottam Prasad Mishra. The Mandali used to recite Ramayan every week, and my father was inclined in it as soon as he reached the hostel. Whenever my father was late for the class, the professor amidst laughter used to ask, "Tell where your father has disappeared." And when I was late, he used to question as to why your son is missing. This situation was posing a problem for both of us. And it was decided that my father will remain in one section while I will move to another. I still remember the celebration of Independence Day. It was a strange coincidence of agony and ecstasy. We were ecstatic because 100 years of foreign rule has ended, and agonized due to the division of motherland. On that day, former Vice Chancellor of Agra University, Diwan Chand, had come. He handed a small reward from his pocket for my oratory skills. I lament that I had to give up study of law midway. Gaining independence and partition of the country had created new circumstances. A number of youngsters left their homes and had embarked on the path of nation building. Studies were left, buddies got separated, and new questions cropped up. Yet, the 2 years spent at DAV college cannot be forgotten.
15 अगस्त का दिन कहता आजादी अभी अधूरी है। 15 अगस्त का दिन कहता आजादी अभी अधूरी है। सपने सच सोना बाकी हैं, रावी की शपथ न पूरी है। जिनकी लाशों पर पग धर कर आजादी भारत में आई, वे अब तक है खाना बदोश गम की काली बदली छाई। कलकत्ते के फुटपाथों पर जो आंधी पानी सहते हैं, उनसे पूछो 15 अगस्त के बारे में क्या कहते हैं। देखिए, उस समय की कविता है। भूखों को गोली, भूखों को गोली, नंगों को हथियार पिनाए जाते हैं। सूखे कंठों से जेहादी नारे लगवाए जाते हैं। लाहौर, कराची, ढाका पर मातम की है काली छाया। पख्तूनों पर, गिलगित पर है गमगीन गुलामी का साया। बस इसीलिए तो कहता हूं आजादी अभी अधूरी है, कैसे उल्लास मनाऊं मैं। बस इसीलिए तो कहता हूं आजादी अभी अधूरी है, कैसे उल्लास मनाऊं मैं। थोड़े दिन की मजबूरी है, दिन दूर नहीं खंडित भारत को पुनः अखंड बनाएंगे। दिन दूर नहीं खंडित भारत को पुनः अखंड बनाएंगे। गिलगित से गारो पर्वत तक आजादी पर्व मनाएंगे। उस स्वर्ण दिवस के लिए आज से कमर कसें, बलिदान करें। जो पाया उसमें खो न जाएं, जो खोया उसका ध्यान करें।
During the British rule, the nation was crumbling. In order to unite the Hindu community and to provide character training and instill Hindu discipline, Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh (RSS) was formed. I joined RSS in 1939 as a volunteer, and by 1942, I had become an active member. The year 1942 turned out to be the most important year for the beginning of my political career. In that year, I and my elder brother participated in Quit India movement, for which I was arrested from my native village, Bhateshwar, in Agra. I was then 16 and was studying for my intermediate exam. On August 27 of the same year, an unusual incident took place. A government building in Bhateshwar was damaged by a group opposed to British rule in India. I was a part of the crowd and played no role in the military events. On that day, Allah was being recited in Bhateshwar Bazaar. At about 2 pm, Kakwa alias Leeladhar and Mahwan came to the Allah and delivered a speech and persuaded the people to break the forest laws. 200 people went to the forest office, and I, along with my brother, followed the crowd and reached Bhateshwar forest office. We both stayed below and all other people went up. I do not know the name of any other person except Kakwa and Mahwan who were there. It seemed to me that the bricks were falling. I did not know who was raising the wall to the ground, but the bricks of the wall were certainly falling. I, along with my brother, started to go to Maipura, and the crowd was behind us. The above mentioned persons forcibly turned out the goats from the cattle pound, and the crowd proceeded towards Bichkoli. 10 or 12 persons were in the forest office. I was at a distance of 100 yards. I did not render any assistance in demolishing the government building. Thereafter, we went to our respective homes. On 30th January 1948, Nathuram Godse, a member of RSS, assassinated Gandhiji. The news of the assassination spread across the country. The one who showed us the path to freedom was no more. This broke my heart.
बेनती करते मैं तो हार गई रे, बेनती करते मैं तो हार गई रे, बिया गो मनानत नाई रे.
In the year 1951, RSS along with Deen Dayal Upadhyay worked together to form a new party, Bharatiya Janasangh, BJS. BJS was a Hindu right-wing political party under the leadership of Dr. Syama Prasad Mukherjee. I was made the national secretary of the party, in charge of the northern region. In the year 1953, I was with Dr. Mukherjee when he went on a hunger strike in Kashmir to protest against perceived inferior treatment of non-Kashmiri Indian visitors to the state. Mukherjee was arrested upon entering Kashmir on 11th May 1953. He and two of his arrested companions were first taken to Central Jail of Srinagar. Later they were transferred to a cottage outside the city. Mukherjee's condition started deteriorating. He was diagnosed of heart attack and died a day later in prison. I first contested an election in 1955 by Lucknow Central Parliamentary Constituency from Bharatiya Janasangh. but lost against Shirajwati Nehru of the Indian National Congress and came third with 28% votes. I did not lose hope. I kept fighting. In 1957, I contested from 3 Lok Sabha constituencies: Lucknow, Balrampur and Mathura. Although I lost from Mathura and Lucknow, I was elected from Balrampur. I was elated. In the year 1964, Jawaharlal Nehru left this world. This led to instability in politics, which would go on for years. A vacancy was created for the Prime Minister's seat. Morarji Desai, who had a greed of power, would go any heights to get the seat. This was realized by K. Kamaraj, the Chief Minister of Madras, who later made an astounding Kamaraj plan to teach him a lesson. Kamaraj was later awarded with Bharat Ratna for his spot-on execution. Thus, Lal Bahadur Shastri was made the Prime Minister. He remained the Prime Minister of India for 2 years until he died mysteriously after signing the Tashkent Agreement. That was devastating. Again, a vacancy was created, but this time Indira Gandhi took charge, who led the Indian National Congress and went on to become the Prime Minister of India for 2 consecutive terms. Amidst all these, I was made the President of Jan Sangh. During 1971, Bangladesh, which was then East Pakistan, was infiltrating to India because West Pakistan started a brutal assault on the people of East Pakistan, who were demanding freedom because of the language and cultural differences between the 2 regions. Thus, India announced the Liberation War. 93,000 soldiers surrendered in East Pakistan and Bangladesh was born.
All the world admires a deed well done, and I think with all modesty we can say that we have done this action well. But let us not forget that the road ahead is still long and very steep, and we have many peaks to scale. Let us hope that we can do this with the same spirit in which we have faced this challenge, and that we will go ahead from peak to peak, raising our nation to new heights of quality and of excellence. I thank you.
In the parliament, the opposition members urged Indira Gandhi to avoid getting involved into the international matters and instead keep her attention only on internal problems. Politics was taking its control. I couldn't bear it, and I said, when it is about the country, then everyone will remain silent. The whole opposition will support you and we will stand with you. On June 25, 1975, Indira Gandhi imposed an emergency on account of international disturbances, suspending key fundamental rights guaranteed under the Constitution to every citizen. This is often regarded as a dark phase in independent India's history. Prominent leaders like Morarji Desai, Biju Patnaik, Chandrasekhar, and many more were put behind bars. I was also arrested. The emergency was in effect for 21 months. This period was marked by unbridled state incarceration, stifling of dissent, and government crackdown on civil liberties. There were reports of frequent human rights violation and the press being censored to a repressive extent. There was anguish everywhere. It is also said that if Indira Gandhi had not implemented the emergency, then perhaps the BJP wouldn't have formed. In Bihar, JP movement, the Total Revolution movement launched by Jai Prakash Narayan, took the pace against internal emergency. I was also a part of the movement. In 1969, Congress President S. Nijalingappa expelled Indira Gandhi from the party for indiscipline. Subsequently, she launched her own faction of the Indian National Congress, which came to be known as Congress R. The original party came to be known as Congress O. After the state of emergency was lifted and new elections were called in 1977, opposition parties such as Congress O, Bharatiya Jansangh, Bharatiya Lokdal, as well as the defectors from the Indian National Congress joined hands to form the Janata Party. We won a sweeping majority in the Indian Parliament. In 1977 general election, I was made the Minister of External Affairs in Prime Minister Morarji Desai cabinet. I was thrilled and joyous. As a foreign minister, I also became the first person to deliver a speech to United Nations General Assembly in Hindi.
संयुक्त राष्ट्र संघ के इतिहास में पहली बार हिंदी में भाषण दिया भारत के विदेश मंत्री श्री अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी ने।
मैं भारत की जनता की ओर से राष्ट्र संघ के लिए शुभकामनाओं का संदेश लाया हूं। महासभा के इस 32वें अधिवेशन के अवसर पर मैं राष्ट्र संघ में भारत की दृढ़ आस्था को पुनः व्यक्त करना चाहता हूं। जनता सरकार को शासन की बागडोर संभाले केवल 6 मास हुए, फिर भी इतने अल्प समय में हमारी उपलब्धियां उल्लेखनीय हैं। भारत में मूलभूत मानव अधिकार पुनः प्रतिष्ठित हो गए। जिस भय और आतंक के वातावरण ने हमारे लोगों को घेर लिया था, वह दूर हो गया है। मैं भारत की ओर से इस महासभा को आश्वासन देना चाहता हूं कि हम एक विश्व के आदर्शों की प्राप्ति और मानव के कल्याण तथा उसके गौरव के लिए त्याग और बलिदान की बेला में कभी पीछे नहीं रहेंगे। जय जगत। धन्यवाद।
I remember a portrait of Nehru that would hang in South Block. I used to see it whenever I passed. At that time, I was new and would sit back in the house. Sometimes, to get an opportunity to speak, I would have to stage a walkout. When I became the foreign minister, I saw that the portrait was missing from the gallery. I then asked, "Where did it go?" I got no reply. That portrait was restored the next day. Once, I had told Pandit Ji that his personality was mixed in nature and that there was both a Winston Churchill and a Neville Chamberlain in him. Nehru was not upset. In the evening, I met him at a banquet and he told me it was a solid speech and walked away smiling. Today, to do such criticism is to invite enmity. People will stop talking to you. My career as a minister was short-lived as I resigned from my post following the resignation of Morarji Desai in 1979. Janata Party had two main leaders, which led to an internal revolt inside the party and the party split. By 1980, the whole party collapsed. Thus, Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, was formed. 1994, when Benazir Bhutto of Pakistan was making a big issue about alleged human rights violation in Jammu and Kashmir at international forums, Narasimha Rao was in power. Even though we belonged to an opposition party, he sent me as the leader of the Indian delegation to the 1994 session of the Human Rights Commission at Geneva. Bhutto was perplexed and once said, India's democracy is a strange democracy, where the leader of the opposition has come to present the side of the government. And here we have our opposition who stays in the country and do such works which creates international problems. Now the question was, who would lead the BJP? RSS was in favor of LK Advani. During a conference in Mumbai on November 1995, BJP President Advani declared that I would be the party's prime ministerial candidate in the forthcoming elections. I was unhappy. BJP should have taken the full support of all its coalition partners in the Lok Sabha, and only then they should have announced a candidate. In a span of 2 years, India witnessed 3 prime ministers between 1996 and 1998. Congress and United Front were engaged in the game of forming and toppling the government. But because of the absence of coalition partners since 1996, what would the BJP do during that time? BJP emerged as the single largest party in the 1996 Lok Sabha polls. The then President Shankar Dayal Sharma invited me to form the government, and I was sworn in as the 10th Prime Minister after remaining in the opposition for 4 decades. However, BJP with its 161 members of parliament was woefully short of the halfway mark of 272. Still, President Shankar Dayal Sharma invited me. He gave me 2 weeks to cobble together the support of enough number of members of MPs. We tried our best, but we couldn't gather enough votes to stay in power. After 13 days of government, I resigned.
अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं फिर जहां से मैंने आरंभ किया था वहां अपने भाषण को ले जाना चाहता हूं। देश में ध्रुवीकरण नहीं होना चाहिए, न सांप्रदायिक आधार पर, न जातीय आधार पर, न राजनीति ऐसे 2 खेमों में बंटनी चाहिए कि जिनमें संवाद न हो, जिनमें चर्चा न हो। देश आज संकटों से घिरा है और ये संकट हमने पैदा नहीं किए। जब जब कभी आवश्यकता पड़ी, संकटों के निराकरण में हमने उस समय की सरकार की मदद की है। उस समय के प्रधानमंत्री नरसिंह राव जी ने भारत का पक्ष रखने के लिए मुझे विरोधी दल के नेता के नाते जेनेवा भेजा था और पाकिस्तानी उसे देखकर चमत्कृत रह गए। उन्होंने कहा कि ये कहां से आए हैं, क्योंकि उनके यहां विरोधी दल का नेता ऐसे राष्ट्रीय कार्य में भी सहयोग देने के लिए तैयार नहीं होता। वो हर जगह अपने सरकार को गिराने के काम में लगा रहता है। ये हमारी परंपरा नहीं है, ये हमारी प्रकृति नहीं है और मैं चाहता हूं ये परंपरा बनी रहे, ये प्रकृति बनी रहे। सत्ता का खेल तो चलेगा, सरकारें आएंगी जाएंगी, पार्टियां बनेगी बिगड़ेंगी, मगर ये देश रहना चाहिए, इस देश का लोकतंत्र अमर रहना चाहिए। क्या ये आज के वातावरण में कठिन काम नहीं हो गया है? ये चर्चा तो आज समाप्त हो जाएगी, मगर कल से जो अध्याय शुरू होगा उस अध्याय पर थोड़ा गौर करने की जरूरत है। ये कटुता बढ़ना नहीं चाहिए। हमारा जनाधार नहीं है। हम अपने देश की सेवा के कार्य में जुटे रहेंगे। हम संख्या बल के सामने सर झुकाते हैं और आपको विश्वास दिलाते हैं कि जो कार्य हमने अपने हाथ में लिया है वो जब तक राष्ट्रीय उद्देश्य पूरा नहीं कर लेंगे तब तक विश्राम से नहीं बैठेंगे, तब तक आराम से नहीं बैठेंगे। अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं अपना त्याग पत्र राष्ट्रपति महोदय को देने जा रहा हूं।
After all, elections were announced so that we don't have shortage of supporters. With the announcement of elections, this effort intensified. BJP strategy worked. The results of 1998 elections were once again in our favor. This time, we got 182 seats as against 161 seats the last time. Overall, the BJP once again emerged as the single largest party. Hence, National Democratic Alliance (NDA) was formed. In 1996, there were only 4 parties with BJP, but by 1998, NDA had 13 parties. A coalition was formed. Common minimum program was made under post-poll alliance to run the government with so many parties. BJP manifesto had 3 agenda in it: Ram Mandir, Uniform Civil Code, and repeal of Article 370. But NDA had a different manifesto. It focused on the development projects. Coalition partners joined together and NDA leaders were also elected. President K.R. Narayanan did not directly invite me to form the government. Instead, he told me that BJP should take full support of all its coalition partners in the Lok Sabha. We must give the list of supporting parties and ask for letters of support from all of them. It is said that he did this so that before forming the government, it should be proved that NDA has majority in the Lok Sabha. It is said that in a hurry to gather allies to form the government, one of the BJP's mistake was they forgot to take formal letters of support from all his allies. AIA-DMK chief Jayalalitha took advantage of this mistake, and instead of giving letters of support, she put some conditions. She said, from our side, finance minister they should be Dr. Swamy. I couldn't agree on this, and I insisted on it, and that's why for 3 to 4 days she didn't even give the letter of support. There were 27 MPs from Jayalalitha and her supporting parties. The BJP could not have formed the government without her. After all, she agreed to give a letter of support in exchange for the help of the central government on some issues related to Tamil Nadu. And thus, I took the oath of the Prime Minister of the country for the second time on March 19, 1998.
यह परंपरा का प्रवाह है, कभी न खंडित होगा। यह परंपरा का प्रवाह है, कभी न खंडित होगा। पुत्रों के बल पर ही मां का मस्तक मंडित होगा। वह कपूत है जिसके रहते मां की दीन दशा हो। वह कपूत है जिसके रहते मां की दीन दशा हो। शत भाई का घर उजाड़ता जिसका महल बसा हो। घर का दीपक व्यर्थ मात्र मंदिर में जब अंधियारा। कैसा हास विलास के जब तक बना हुआ बंटवारा। किस बेटे ने मां के टुकड़े करके दीप जलाए। किस बेटे ने मां के टुकड़े करके दीप जलाए। किसने भाई की समाधि पर ऊंचे महल बनाए। चिता भस्म पर किसने सुख के स्वर्णिम साज सजाए। किसने लाखों के विनाश पर जय के वाद्य बजाए। किस कपूत ने पूत पंचनद को कर डाला लाल। किसके पापों का प्रतिफल है भोग रहा बंगाल। किस कपूत ने पूत पंचनद को कर डाला लाल। किसके पापों का प्रतिफल है भोग रहा बंगाल। किसने आग लगाकर अपने घर में किया उजाला। किसने निज का सुख खरीद मां का विक्रय करना। शस्य श्यामला स्वर्ण भूमि क्यों हुई आज कंगाल, किसके कारण देवभूमि ने आज अभाव अकाल। जग जननी ने भीख मांगने का दुर्दिन क्यों देखा, पुत्रों के पापों का फल है यह न नियति का लेखा। जग जननी ने भीख मांगने का दुर्दिन क्यों देखा, पुत्रों के पापों का फल है यह न नियति का लेखा। सूर्य गिर गया अंधकार में ठोकर खाकर, इन पंक्तियों की ओर ध्यान दीजिए। सूर्य गिर गया अंधकार में ठोकर खाकर, भीख मांगता है कुबेर झोली फैलाकर। कण कण को मोहताज कर्ण का देश हो गया, मां का अंचल द्रुपद सुता का केश हो गया।
In this tenure, our primary focus was on nuclear tests, which was suppressed for years following the pressure of the West. Without a nuclear power nation, we would fail to deter potential Chinese aggression. 13th May 1998 was the day we carried out the nuclear test under the nose of US satellites. We became the nuclear potential nation.
Today, at 15:45 hours, India conducted 3 underground nuclear tests in the Pokhran range. These tests conducted today were with a fission device, a low yield device, and a thermonuclear device. The measured yields are in line with expected values. Measurements have also confirmed that there was no release of radioactivity into the atmosphere. These were contained explosions like the experiment conducted in May 1974. I warmly congratulate the scientists and engineers who have carried out these successful tests. Thank you very much indeed.
The then chairman of the Indian Atomic Energy Commission described each one of the explosions of Pokhran 2 to be equivalent to several tests carried out by other nuclear weapon states over decades. Immediately after the test, we gave a statement, no first use.
ये आश्चर्य है कि परमाणु परीक्षण की भी आलोचना की गई। पूछा गया देश के सामने कौन सा खतरा था। मैं 1974 में सदन में था जब श्रीमती इंदिरा गांधी के नेतृत्व में परमाणु परीक्षण किया गया था। हमने उसका स्वागत किया था, प्रतिपक्ष में थे फिर भी स्वागत किया था, क्योंकि देश की रक्षा के लिए वो किया गया था। उस समय कौन सा खतरा था? क्या आत्मरक्षा की तैयारी तभी होगी जब खतरा होगा? अगर तैयारी पहले से हो तो जो खतरा अगर आने वाला है तो खतरा भी दूर हो जाएगा। क्या रक्षा के मामले में हमें आत्मनिर्भर नहीं होना चाहिए? लेकिन परीक्षण के साथ हमने ये भी ऐलान किया कि हम परमाणु हथियारों का प्रयोग करने में पहल नहीं करेंगे, नो फर्स्ट यूज। हमने ये भी कहा कि जिनके पास परमाणु शस्त्र नहीं है हम उनके विरुद्ध उनका उपयोग नहीं करेंगे। अध्यक्ष महोदय, 13 महीने के अपने कार्यकाल में कभी हमने अंतर्राष्ट्रीय दबाव में आकर कोई फैसला नहीं किया, न हम आगे करेंगे।
Our government lasted only 13 months. Interestingly, the same Subramanian Swamy who played an important role in bringing down our government the last time had once again played the same role. Once again, the elections was held in the year 1999. NDA got 303 seats. Once again, we were the largest party. I took the oath of the Prime Minister for the third time. As promised, I kept the issues like building the Ram Mandir, repealing Article 370 or enacting a uniform civil code aside. My complete focus was on domestic, economic and infrastructural reforms, which included encouraging the private sector and foreign investments, reducing governmental waste, encouraging research and development, and privatization of some government-owned corporations. My pet projects with the National Highways Development and Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. In March 2000, Bill Clinton, the President of the United States, paid a state visit to India. It was the first state visit to India by a US President in 22 years. Amidst all these, Pakistan had taken a tough stance against us. You can change friends, but not neighbors. And the best way to protect one nation is to make your neighbor a friend. Thus, we came up with Lahore Declaration in the year 1999. It was a bilateral agreement and governance treaty signed by India and Pakistan on February 21, 1999. I signed the treaty and Pakistani counterpart Nawaz Sharif at the conclusion of a historic summit in Lahore. The Lahore Declaration was ratified by the parliaments of both countries the same year. Under the terms of the treaty, New Delhi and Islamabad had reached a mutual understanding towards the development of atomic arsenals and to avoid accidental and unauthorized operational use of nuclear weapons. It also brought added responsibility to the leaders of both countries to avoid nuclear race as well as both non-conventional and conventional conflicts. Though Lahore Declaration was widely popular in the public circles in Pakistan and was welcomed by the international community, the relations between India and Pakistan turned sour with the outbreak of Kargil War in 1999. Conflict began in early May when the Indian military learned that Pakistani fighters had infiltrated the Indian administered territory. After detecting the infiltration, India ordered its army and air force to push back the intruders, who included regulars of the Pakistani army. The bitter fight took place in harsh terrain of 5,000 meters above sea level. While intensive diplomatic activity took place elsewhere, Pakistani Foreign Minister Sartaj Aziz visited New Delhi on June 12, but his talks with Indian External Affairs Minister Jaswant Singh failed to produce results. Meetings of military leaders from both countries followed, and in the weeks ahead, the international community asserted the need for Pakistan to return to the line of control. Eventually, on July 11, Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif announced that the militants would withdraw, and India gave them until July 16 to do so. Sporadic fighting continued even after the deadline. However, several hundred combatants were killed on each side during the conflict.
हम शांति चाहते हैं, ये तो दुनिया ने देखा। अब दुनिया ये देखेगी कि हम शांति की रक्षा के लिए और अपनी शक्ति का भी प्रदर्शन कर सकते हैं। लड़ाई के परिणाम के बारे में भी मेरे मन में कोई संदेह नहीं है। हमारी विजय निश्चित है और हम विजयी होकर दिखाएंगे।
Pakistan wouldn't stop here. 13 December 2001. A group of masked armed men with fake IDs stormed the Indian Parliament House in Delhi. The terrorists managed to kill several security guards, but the building was sealed off swiftly and security forces covered and killed the terrorists, whom will later prove to be Pakistan nationals.
Renu Rana Rana Renu Renu Dim dum dana da dim dana da dim dum dana da dim dana dim dum dana dim dum dana da dim dana udani dani dana dir dana na udani dani dana dir dana na dana da diana ta dim dum dana da dim dana dim dum dana da dim dana dim dum dana.
We ordered a mobilization of India's military forces, and as many as 500,000 servicemen amazed along the international boundary bordering Punjab, Rajasthan, Gujarat and Kashmir. Pakistan responded with the same. The NDA was widely expected to retain power after 2004 general election. However, the coalition lost almost half of its seats, with several prominent cabinet ministers being defeated. The Indian National Congress, led by Sonia Gandhi, became the single largest party. I was 80 by then, and I had to pave the way for the next generation. And thus, I took my retirement from active politics, paving the way for Lal Krishna Advani to lead BJP. I did not marry and devoted my entire life to serve the nation. But The happiness that a family can bring was missing. I decided to adopt a girl named Navita. After my public life, she's the closest whom I love the most. In 2015, I was awarded with Bharat Ratna. The memories of many awards and the Padma Vibhushan 23 years back were fresh again.
हार नहीं मानूंगा, राग नहीं ठानूंगा, काल के कपाल पर लिखता जाता हूँ, गीत नया गाता, गीत नया गाता। मौत से ठन गई। जूझने का मेरा कोई इरादा न था। जूझने का मेरा कोई इरादा न था, मोड़ पर मिलेंगे इसका वादा न था। रास्ता रोककर खड़ी हो गई, ये लगा जिंदगी से बड़ी हो गई। मौत जिंदगी से बड़ी कैसे हो सकती? जूझने का मेरा कोई इरादा न था, मोड़ पर मिलेंगे इसका वादा न था। रास्ता रोककर वह खड़ी हो गई, यूं लगा जिंदगी से बड़ी हो गई। मौत की उम्र क्या, मौत की उम्र क्या, 2 पल भी नहीं। जिंदगी सिलसिला आज कल की नहीं। मैं जी भर जिया, मैं मन से मरूं। देखिए कवि का मन, मैं जी भर जिया मैं मन से मरूं, लौट कर आऊंगा कूच से क्यों डरूं। तू दबे पांव चोरी छिपे से ना, सामने वार कर फिर मुझे आजमा। मौत से बेखबर जिंदगी का सफर, शाम हर सुरमई रात बंसी का स्वर। बात ऐसी नहीं कि कोई गम ही नहीं, बात ऐसी नहीं कि कोई गम ही नहीं। दर्द अपने पराये कुछ कम भी नहीं। प्यार इतना परायों से मुझको मिला, ना अपनों से बाकी है कोई गिला। हर चुनौती से 2 हाथ मैंने किए, आंधियों में जलाए हैं पुश्ते दिए। रास्ता रोक कर खड़ी हो गई, ये लगा जिंदगी से बड़ी हो गई। मौत जिंदगी से बड़ी कैसे हो सकती?